The narrative surrounding Prince Harry has been persistently shaped by a barrage of misinformation and biased portrayals, often casting him as unreasonable while depicting the royal family as faultless. A key element in understanding this skewed narrative is recognizing the role of certain royal commentators and their influence on public perception. Commentators like Rebecca English and others on platforms such as Palace Confidential yield significant influence. Their words are often taken at face value by a public inclined to trust established media figures and those perceived to have insider access. The underlying assumption for many is, why would they lie? This trust allows a particular narrative, one that often demonizes Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex, to gain traction and be accepted as truth, even when contradicted by facts or alternative perspectives. These individuals, often part of the royal rota with close ties to the palace, become the mouthpieces for a specific viewpoint, shaping public opinion by consistently painting Harry and Meghan negatively and the royal family as victims of their unreasonableness. The problem is compounded by the very nature of journalism. When a journalist like Rebecca English, who is described as being very close to King Charles and his wife, and also William and his people, reports on these individuals, questions of objectivity inevitably arise. While proximity can offer access, it can also blur lines, potentially leading to reporting that aligns more with the perspectives of those in power rather than offering a detached, critical analysis. This closeness means that their output can be seen less as unbiased, right? It would be certainly biased journalism and more as a reflection of what the palace desires the narrative to be. On a recent episode of Palace Confidential, royal commentator Rebecca English used a phrase that for many shattered any illusion of impartiality. He chose violence. She was not referring to war or actual harm, but to Prince Harry's decision to speak out after the UK High Court decision and the realization that Ravik has no governing laws that the courts can judge on, that she could so casually equate truth with violence is not just irresponsible, it is dangerous. This is not journalism. This is character assassination in pearls. And it confirms what many of us have long known, that shows like Palace Confidential are not about honest analysis. They are about preserving the crown's narrative, no matter the human cost. Welcome. This is Majesty Sussex Report, and I'm Antonio. Thank you for spending some of your very valuable time here with us. He chose violence. That is what she said. He chose violence. Very fine journalist, Rebecca English, who tells us that she only presents the two sides and let the audience decide. Somehow is telling us that Prince Harry has chosen violence because he wants transparency, the truth. You see, that is not a throwaway line by any means. It is a signal. It primes the audience to view Harry not as a father, not as a husband, trying to protect his family, but as a person who is unstable, dangerous, and even unhinged. This kind of language, especially from a senior royal correspondent, plants seeds that grow into online hate, visceral, and in some cases, real world threats. And yet, Rebecca English and her co panelists carry on with the same smug detachment of people who know they will never be held accountable. English, who admits in the same episode to being close to King Charles, Queen Camilla, and to William's camp, then claims with a straight face that she's a neutral journalist who simply presents both sides. This is not just disingenuous, it's insulting. She and her colleagues do not present both sides. They inject coded language, use emotive framing, and deliver well rehearsed outrage designed to persuade the viewer, right? So their message can be very well delivered while maintaining plausible deniability. They ignore the actual facts of the security case completely. That Harry had the highest threat level of any royal after the Queen. And as a matter of fact, I do believe he actually went above the Queen, well, his family. That Rivik, the committee that removed Harry's security, includes royal household members who represent the king. Now, it doesn't take a PhD graduate to see that this is a conflict of interest. I mean, am I the only one? This is a conflict of interest. Why are they, two members from the royal household, sitting on the committee? They should excuse themselves and let the committee get on with what it's supposed to do and follow the procedures and norms that they always have followed. None of this, oh, we can have a bespoke, curated, no security for you. I mean, she didn't mention, none of them did, because the entire island, across the UK, everyone thinks, oh, well, it's just, you know, when he's ready to come over, he needs to give them 21 days in advance, so they can prepare things for him. And it's by case, if he's coming here and there are many alerts for him, like people want to like take his life or something, then obviously we will send, I don't know, like someone with maybe a mobile phone, right? So if anything happens, they can call the police, right? And so he will always have security, one way or another. No, he's not. No, he is not. It's only when he is invited by the royal family that they are willing to give him proper security. If he's in the UK for any other reason, he doesn't get proper security. He said it would be something like another person on a phone on the other side in case something happens. So they don't mention any of that, right? They don't mention that legal security expert like Richard H. have called it an establishment stitch up driven by emotion and spite. None of that made it into Palace Confidential. None of it. And you know why? Because the truth disrupts the storyline. And that storyline is Harry is the villain, Meghan is the villain. The Sussexes are just the most awful people ever walk the earth. But the palace is the victim. Because how much more he is so inconsiderate. How much more can the can the palace take? How much more? I swear to you, it's absolute madness. Absolute madness. Claims like Rebecca English suggesting, I can't even speak anymore, suggesting that Harry would have had Clarence House. Yeah, you hear me well. That Harry was going to have Clarence House if he'd stayed. If he had stayed. Let me tell you, that is so misleading and a fantasy, Rebecca English. It wouldn't have happened. Now, just to show you how these people operate, they are saying basically that if they had stayed, put up with the abuse, they would have been rewarded for it. So put up with the abuse, and you will be rewarded for it. Now, that is so sick. I don't even know where to start with that. They're basically saying, stay with the abuser. Let the abuser continue to abuse you. Don't say anything. Shut up. And, if by the end of it you're still either alive or sane, you will be rewarded. We'll give you a nice house. But there's no guarantee we're going to stop abusing you. It's absolute insanity. And it's maddening to watch these people get, go on about uh, how upset they are that Harry had the audacity to just say, I don't know how long my father has to live. Incredible. Not once, not once in that entire 30 minutes of Palace Confidential, they mentioned the BBC, forced apology for Aaron Richard H., security analyst, which confirmed what Harry was saying. So the royal security analyst, the guy who actually knows stuff, right? He actually knows his stuff. He's agreeing with Harry because he's like, this is not the way this stuff is conducted. Why are they doing it like this? Right? Why? Not a word. Not a word about that. Once again, because it interferes with their narrative. A principled stand in the face of a biased onslaught. Prince Harry, his actions are not those of a petulant prince, but of an individual who, having been born into an extraordinary institution, has faced extraordinary pressures, threats, and what he perceives as profound injustices from within that same system. He has consistently sought transparency and accountability regarding his and his family's security, a fundamental need, not a luxury. The relentless criticism and misinformation campaign, often propagated by commentators with vested interest and close ties to the palace establishment, serves to obscure the legitimate concerns he has raised. The public's trust in these figures, often unquestioning, allows a one sided and damaging narrative to prevail. By presenting evidence, challenging false narratives, and calling for systemic review, Prince Harry is not just defending himself, but also advocating for fairness and a more honest appraisal of the pressures faced by those within the royal sphere. It is time to look beyond the sensational headlines and engage with the substance of his argument, with the logic and proof they warrant. When Rebecca English said he chose violence, she revealed far more than she intended. She told us that to these royal commentators, truth is an act of war, that to name injustice is to disrupt the monarchy's myth of harmony, that survival, when it comes from Harry and Meghan, it becomes a threat. Let's be clear. Prince Harry's choice is that of choosing honesty. He chose to protect his family. He chose to call out a broken system that put them in danger. If that is violence, what do we call the campaign to destroy them? Well, here we are. Thank you so much for being here, for listening, for watching. Hope you've gained some insights, or if certain things you already thought, either they've been confirmed or they've been challenged. And hopefully you walk away from this learning a little bit more and or having better understanding of the situation. Thank you so much for being here. Do remember, if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe to the channel. If it absolutely helps us, and if you, especially if you enjoyed the content, okay, do give us a thumbs up and leave a comment if you wish to do so, and share. So thank you, and thank you. We will be discussing this topic a little bit more in Palace Unfiltered. That should be ready for you by tomorrow. And I'll be speaking with our two panelists, Emily and Jeffrey. That's it. Hope most of you or all of you have seen the Duke and the Duchess having some fun out and about at the Beyonce concert. Oh, they just look smashingly wonderful and beautiful. So great to see them so happy and having a great time. I should be putting out a short on that pretty soon too. All right. Take care. Be kind to yourself. I love you all. Bye for now. Mwah.